part that we would open to the public, it would begin with what was the family breakfast room, which may be occupied by our chief. Hey, Robert.
Hi.
Are you amenable to a quick look-see of some people to your office?
Welcome.
Robert Goldsmith's our Deputy Director, Chief.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Chief
Welcome.
Operating Officer, and you know Lee. Yeah. So this was the family breakfast room, and it's kind of the room that's changed the least, I'd say, from the time of the family.
Xavier's office.
And Xavier's office too.
Yeah.
That's true. So this would, and in fact, that picture was here when they were having breakfast in the 1920s.
So the hope is this would become an exhibition room?
Yeah. So it'd
You
be a cycle of rooms. So he would lose his office.
Progress.
You'll see my office.
Absolutely. All
Right.
in the name of.
So we have to find room for us. So that's part of the deal.
Part of the expansion will be.
That's part of the collection?
Yeah.
But these are just couches?
This is
Right, it's household
furniture.
But the Sev is from the collection.
And what kinds of things will you be showing here when you turn it into a gallery?
Mostly small scale, and most of what we've acquired has been small scale. So decorative arts like Sev, Meissen, porcelain, drawings, cabinet pictures.
Yeah.
And because the rooms are more
Looks,
intimate, and I think they're really well scaled for the objects that there's been the most growth of in the collection, which has actually been small scale things.
No.
And they'll rotate, or they'll be more or less permanent? Or?
Well, I hope we would rotate them, because we still don't, we won't be able to show everything, and so I think it makes sense. Some things may stay long term, some things may rotate on a regular basis. The second floor was mostly, the architects worked career in Hastings, of course, of the whole building, but the second floor was mostly designed by Elsie de Wolf, the famous interior decorator of the early 20th century. So she commissioned Twachtman to do the ceilings here. It's actually the brother of the more famous Twachtman. His signature's in the corner. This is
This level even back in
Alden Twachtman. So this was done in 1914. But she also, Elsie de Wolf, introduced concealed lighting, which was actually technologically cutting edge. So this is my office. This was Mrs. Frick's dressing room. This would become a public space. And the bookcases were all added later, so we would make we'd make some changes to make it into a gallery. Where we have original features of the house, we'll save them as well as possible. But in fact, much of this changed in the 1930s.
What is original to this room now? What about this room is original to it? Is this,
chandelier.
That's it?
That's it.
Not the wall coverings?
No, nothing. Everything was changed in 1934, 35.
Okay, but the moldings, I assume,
All new.
all new.
The doors were, some of the doors were original, were moved around, but
I see.
where you're standing, there was a bathroom, there was a door here. I mean, all of the interior architecture was changed in the 30s, and a lot of it was with the point of view of making it gallery space. Because we don't really have a room big enough for the board, so we put in temporary tables. But this used to be 2 bedrooms. There was a wall about here, and this was Mrs. Frick's bedroom on this side.
To her
dressing room. Right. This was the daughter's bedroom on this side, Helen Clay, and Henry's bedroom was through on the other side. So it's a suite of bedrooms. So if you think about it, it was actually a relatively small bedroom for one of the wealthiest men in America, but great location. And, he had other houses. But so this is our meeting room. For every meeting in the room, for people doing projects who can't find a desk somewhere else. It was the boardroom originally, but the board has grown bigger, and it's where seminars take place. It's the only room that we have for that kind of thing. There's no classroom, but they have to kind of compete with other interests in the museum to get this room. His sitting room, dressing room, and this is the room that has changed the least from the day from the 1930s. I mean, this was made in 1914. Chief Curator's office. It's a nice office. Yeah. But he's worth it. And probably, you know, the director's office might move here, or some functions might move here.
Initially, when I heard you were opening up these rooms, I thought we were going to be able to see how the Fricks lives, but in fact, we're not
Well,
really
no,
seeing
it's not
that.
really
We're seeing the
possible.
spaces,
The
but
spaces
not
that they're
the
in, yeah.
furnishings, not what
Some
they
of the rooms,
lived
like
with.
the breakfast room, is more complete. You
Yeah.
know, haven't been many changes
Well,
there.
you get a sense of the size of the.
But I think you get a sense of this, you know, of where
what
they
he
live.
saw
and-
out the windows.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think we'll adapt them for display.
Mhm.
So I think it's the right solution for us. I mean, to take them back to the way they were
Be too
in
hokey to do
1912, I
that,
think
yeah.
is kind of fake in a way. So
Yeah,
Did we
yeah.
build the
Okay.
bath?
We have a small but really good collection of drawings, and
Mhm.
so you know, one could hang 15 to 20 drawings and rotate them. And just this landing, I think, is one of the most beautiful spaces in the city. So this is part of the organ. I mean, you know,
Okay.
most of the
light switch?
most of the pipes are behind what looks like organ pipes, but they're actually gilt wooden decorations. And actually, it's an aeolian organ that was installed in 1914 and was the largest house organ in New York at the time. It's never been a great organ in terms of the quality of its sound, and it's partly because that wood is a baffle to the sound. It hasn't really worked for about 15 years.
15 years ago, did they used to have
Yeah,
concerts
we-
inside?
Well, and there's no place to sit really to have a concert. That's part of it. It was for Henry Clay to listen to the music down in the dining room or downstairs. So that's part of the problem. And we just could have a lunchtime concert where people could mill around and hear it, but there's no place really for an audience to assemble.
Will the capital project include rehabilitating the organ, or not really?
I've thought about it. I mean, the problem is, that I have somebody who was interested in helping me financially with doing it, but it's never been a great sound. I mean, legitimately, the question was, can we have a program of some of the great organists from around the world coming and playing it? And unfortunately, it's not great
Beneath them.
quality, which we've
Yeah.
learned from a lot of people studying it over the years. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure.